And off they go. And there we go. Stewart Place straight off the line, straight into the lead with Dudman splitting Hammond and Anderson. Anderson has a terrible start. Finn Groom has now got himself up into contention for third place at the Fourscore. What an amazing start he has. He's in the third place, Finn Groom.
Yeah, great start from Finn Groom, but it's Stewart Place. Brilliant start from him to get up into the lead of the race. And you've got your two championship contenders out there in first and second.
Pip Hammond's gone very wide at Druitt's hairpin, at complete understeer, and has found himself back behind Finn Groom. So Finn Groom finds himself in second, but he went incredibly wide at the Druitt's hairpin.
And Hammond only just got back on in front of Neil Dudman. They had a coming together, didn't they?
They did.
At Cadwell Park in the last meeting as well, through the whole bends. But both get through together there. Then it's Lee Scott in fifth and Chris Deere in sixth. Andy Anderson, he's not made good starts in either of those races, has he, in the little Suzuki? He's down to seventh. And here's Darren Bassingthwaite and Jason Wood having a little dice towards the back end of the top 10.
And of course, Darren will have the inside line there as we look at the leaders. We've got Stuart. Oh, Finn Groom, an incredibly sideways moment there. That's a really tricky corner, and he managed to hold it together as they come onto the start-finish straight. Yes, it says Stewart Place got quite an impressive lead over Pip Hammond, and Finn Groom has found himself all over the back of Pip Hammond as they cross into our start line onto the... Oh, that's a scary corner, that Paddock Hill bend, but they all seem to be finding themselves down there. What an amazing, confusing start.
It certainly was. Lots of drama, but Stewart Place coming through all of it to have a convincing lead here. Hammond getting back to second then. Groom third, Dudman is fourth, Scott fifth, and Anderson gets a place away from Chris Deere there. He's back up into sixth place, having great fun in that little 1.3 Suzuki. But Stewart Place had a huge lead, didn't he? And now it's
gone to nothing. And they've got all three of them are virtually together as they come onto the Cooper Straight. They literally follow him bumper to bumper, and Finn Groom, he's ecstatic with his podium today, and he's just going to follow these guys, and hopefully they might trip up and he'll let them through. But oh, here we go. Now Pip Hammond's trying the wider line on this corner. Look at the understeer they're suffering from here. Look, and Stewart's almost pushed him right. Does this mean Finn's getting up the inside of Pip Hammond as they come back onto the start-finish straight? What an amazing weekend we're having.
Yeah, and that was the understeer from Stewart Place. It was almost put Pip Hammond into the gravel. It wasn't intentional, I don't think. It was just that he understeered off, and it has allowed Place to get a big lead again, and Groom to get up the inside of Hammond into Paddock Hill Bend at the start of lap 3. Little grey and blue XR2 goes through to second place, and crucially, this has delayed Pip Hammond quite a bit. He's got a lot of work to do to get back on terms with his rival for the championship, Stewart Place.
Like I said, that corner, that Clearways corner, the camber is incredibly off camber and trying to stop the understeer. Now Pip's trying that extra wide line round there, but he's finding himself, he's lost a car length over Finn Groom by doing that as they come towards the entrance to the Cooper Straight. And look at that sideways by Finn Groom. That's so impressive.
And look at Andy Anderson in fifth place. He's made up another place on that lap, and he's nearly with Neil Dudman now. So after a dreadful start, Andy Anderson in the Suzuki Swift is coming right back into this race, and he's got the fastest lap as well, a 109.985. It was the first flying lap of the race, of course. Everyone else was having little mistakes and understeering moments, but it's place leading. Finn Groom second, Pip Hammond third, Neil Dudman fourth, and Andy Anderson in fifth place as they tentatively get back on the power as they head along the Brabham Straight, the start to finish straight, to complete lap number 3.
Wow, that little Suzuki Swift. Of course, these sort of conditions sort of levelling the playing field as they come towards Paddock Hill Bend. I see Andy Anderson incredibly late on the brakes, trying to catch up with Neil Dudman, but there we find Pip Hammond is now all over the back of Finn Groom. Now, we say this is only a very young man, and he's really come to form, and he's had a bit of bad luck this season, but he's showing that he can mix it with these champions, as he's doing there, holding his line quite nicely to keep Pip Hammond at bay.
Yeah, so Finn Groom...
Oh, and I see Andy Anderson's got the better of Neil Dudman.
He's done it.
Coming out of Druitt's hairpin.
Well, this is interesting. I mean, he's done another fastest lap of the race. I mean, if he continues this pace, he could be getting involved for certainly the podium, and who knows, even more than that.
It'd be well deserved. He's always got good pace, and his starts are letting him down. And but now it looks as though we're going to have four cars for the lead. Look at that! It's just they're trying all different ways. Look at that four-wheel drift from Finn Groom as he tries to negotiate that awful corner. And look, all the different lines as they come out, trying to scrabble for grip to get the maximum speed possible down the start-finish straight. And Finn is definitely sort of keeping Pip at bay. But of course, Andy Anderson is not far behind.
And he's done another best lap of the race, Anderson, a 109.589. He keeps nibbling off a hundredth or so off his previous best effort. He's having a great race here, and he's taking the fight to, you know, two champions.
Look in the back. Lee Scott, he's got a bit of a tank slapper and has found himself in the gravel trap.
Oh, dear. Well, that's not a great place to be for either Lee or probably for anybody else, because that might mean we have a caution period. He's well up to his axles by the looks of it there, looking out of our commentary box window over towards Paddock Hill Bend. But anyway, top four continue. It's still Stuart Place leading, and yes, we do have the safety car, as I feared we might do. Safety car is being scrambled. Then Stuart Place it is that leads. Finn Groom second, Pip Hammond third, Andy Anderson in fourth position, Neil Judman fifth, and with Lee Scott having split into the gravel, it will be Chris Deere up to sixth. So we're going to have a bit of a hiatus, I think, while Lee Scott is
well
recovered.
deep in there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to be just the marshals that get out. It's going to need the recovery vehicle. I think the snatch vehicle I can see is poised to go and take part in the recovery operation, which will be done, I think, under the safety car.
It's always very tricky. Luckily, sort of the more narrow section, it's when the cars go off into the gravel trap quite deep at the base of Paddock Hill there. It's sometimes more difficult to get them out because they're so far in. I think a couple of years ago we actually had one of the snatch vehicles got stuck in there as well, and that had to be recovered. But yeah, that's definitely well up to the axle. It does mean that we can have a breather.
It does.
So
it does. We need it.
It's looking at now. Now this could be really interesting because you've got Stuart Place, Finn Groom, and then you've got Pip Hammond, Andy Anderson, Neil Dudman, and Chris Deere. Now, just looking at that is Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark is now up to 7th place.
Yeah, he is.
That is very impressive. He's not been having a lot of luck this weekend at all, but that is incredible. But of course, this restart will mean if they got their head screwed on, they will all bunch up, and that means that for the final few minutes, we'll be 8 minutes at the moment, but I reckon we're going to have a sort of minute or two of safety car. That can make it very exciting here.
It could do, couldn't it? I mean, it was already pretty close at the front, but it brings others into the equation as well. It gives a bit of a chance for some to just sort of think about their strategy for the final few moments. Of course, while all of this is happening, assuming it's not raining, the track is probably getting a little bit drier as well. So the conditions will be changing as the race goes on. Does that count against someone like Andy Anderson, for example?
Well, it will count, because obviously the track is now they're not at race speed. The track is changing without their experience, so there's going to be a slight change, and they're going to have to try and get used to that. As Pip is desperately, that's Stuart, desperately trying to keep heat in his front tyres, and Pip's doing the same. They're all doing that little weaving just to try and keep some heat in these tyres. The rain does cool these tyres incredible, although these tyres aren't not very good in the heat. This is actually should be ideal for them, but they need to keep that heat, especially in the rear left, because as a Paddock Hill, you need that rear left to stay warm. So yes, they are indeed bunching up quite close this time, maybe learning from what happened earlier, Ian.
Yes, possibly so.
Oh no! Now, as I say that, the commentators curse. They all space up.
Yeah, so they're just making their way around behind the safety car, past that Lee Scott car, which is in the midst of being recovered, and hopefully we'll get maybe a sort of 4-5 more laps of racing at the end of this.
Now, of course, we've got this is our penultimate meeting. Now, our next meeting is at Mallory, and this is when it all gets exciting, when it comes to the drop scores.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Because obviously they get points accrued for each race they take part, but they are allowed to discount they discount their lowest scores. So at the moment, I think Stuart only has to lose 13.
Yeah, you're right.
And I'm thinking Pip is something like 36 points he will lose.
I reckon on drop scores after the race earlier on today, Stuart's ahead by about 4 points.
Yes, it's very close now, because of course obviously Pip got that fastest lap point as well.
Yes.
So he's able to nibble a little bit more, but it's going to be incredibly tense. I mean, I'm just quite surprised. I thought Stuart might sort of rest on his laurels and just finish and do a pointsy weekend. But of course, I think the advantage came to him and he got into the lead, and he'll be very keen to keep that.
Who would fancy themselves around Mallory Park, do you think, the most?
No, that's a tricky one.
I mean, I think they've both won races there in the past.
I think they have, if memory serves.
Also been very rapid.
It's a very short circuit, but it is an incredibly difficult circuit. Like this one, it's incredibly short but very technical. Now that's going to be very interesting, and I wouldn't like to put money on any of it. It's going to get incredibly close and incredibly tense.
So look forward to that at Mallory Park in October.
It's October, isn't it?
Yeah, assuming that it finishes this way, then that'll be... If it finishes this way, Stewart will have extended his lead to something like, it's going to be, what, another 6 points? It might be 10 points ahead if he gets the fastest lap as well, which is not good at the moment.
No.
9 or 10 points ahead if he finishes this way, I reckon.
I'm trying to... I mean, looking at the fastest lap, he's effectively nearly a second slower than Andy Anderson.
Yeah.
Now, this is a real shame because I was getting quite excited there. And Andy Anderson was so much on the pace, so much quicker than anyone else on there. And he would have been a factor had the race been a bit longer. But as we rapidly approach the 4-minute mark, we are only looking at best... Oh, Lee Scott's away. So...
Yeah.
What do you reckon? You reckon we'll be starting at the end of this one? I mean, that's going to scarf
to get that snatch vehicle out of the way. It's heading up at a fairly reasonable lick.
If you people at the bottom of the hill could tell it to go a bit quicker, please.
Yeah, that's what we need. We'd ideally like to go racing at the end of this lap, which would give us probably 3 more laps.
3 more laps, wouldn't it?
And it might only be 2 more laps.
Well, it looks like the lights are still flashing.
Okay, that's not boding well, is it? It's not quite going to work out.
No, not going to quite work out. Oh, botheration.
Yeah, it's a real shame that we're probably going to get 2 laps of racing at the end of this Finishline UK Classic Stock Cats Championship race. Safety car out here, and it is still got its lights on.
This
yeah,
is
unfortunately.
Getting tense. I mean, obviously Pip is going to want the points. Now Finn will be just happy to be where he is.
Yes, I mean he's not going for the championship at all, is he? So he's just picking up the results.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so he'll be happy where it is, but of course you've got the contenders, Pip Hammond and Stuart Place, but of course you've got Andy Anderson proving that little Swift can actually motor around here, and he will be extremely keen to get his first point. This is only his first year in the championship,
yeah.
And he's all the way down from Scotland. His family comes to nearly every meeting. I think it's just this one where the younger kids didn't come because it was just too far for them, but he'll be itching to get. And he's literally 1 place from that trophy. So it's going to get incredibly interesting because, like you say, we'll have about 2 laps. And it's going to be crazy, I reckon. Now you can see they're starting to bunch up. Finn is getting keen.
Yeah.
Although the lights are still on.
They are, but the snatch vehicle's now behind the barriers. Yeah,
they've just gone off. Yes, they have just gone off.
Yeah, so just look at Andy Anderson. He's a site engineer from Bonchester Bridge. He's done a spot of rallying, he says, 15 years
Done a spot of rallying, yes.
But he's been doing the road sports as well.
He has to get the track time, getting used to a track. Look at Finn. He is all over the back of Stewart. He's waiting to plant that throttle as soon as Stewart does. He is very keen on this restart. Pip is about a car length, and Andy about a car length. Neil Dubman's right behind Andy Anderson. They've got Chris Deere, Ryan Clark with his very impressive position. He's had so much bad luck, and I can hear the throttle go down as they come onto the start-finish straight. Now let's see who he's got a good restart now. It's a fairly even restart. This is a cracking restart because although Stewart has got a few car lengths, he hasn't got away that much.
No, he's got into the lead. Well, he was still in the lead, of course. He's maintained that. Groom is sort of got Hammond trying to find a way past him then as they go through the compression and head now up to Druids. So can Hammond get past Groom first of all and then trot down Stuart Place in the lap and 2/3 of this race left to go? Dudman now is trying to attack Andy Anderson for 4th position as well in that Peugeot, and Chris Deere it is, number 46 in 6th place, but Pip Hammond's not been able to find a way past Finn Groom here.
No, he hasn't as they come onto this straight. That's a very love that corner around there as they come on there, and yes, Stuart Place has managed to hold it there, and Pip is desperately wanting to get past this young 91 vehicle. And look at the sideways as they come round there. That is incredibly greasy at that point. And that demonstrates quite well as they come onto this long, clear ways. They're all taking it nice and tentative, but Pip is itching to get the extra exit speed, taking that wider line. But now he's going to try and cut back on the inside, and it's actually paying off not that bad for him because they are literally all together as they come on to the start-finish straight. And this, I reckon, will be the last lap.
It is. The last lap board is out. So it's Place leading, Groom second, Hammond third, Anderson fourth. Dudman in 5th place has dropped away a little bit, and Ryan Clark is trying to get 6th place away from Chris Deere before the end of this race here. But we're watching the leaders as they head up to Druids for the final time. Pip Hammond to the outside of Finn Groom. He's gone around the outside of him to take 2nd place away.
Ah, yes, but Finn's going to try and hang on the inside, but no, he has. It has actually worked out. Pip has got himself in a great position to protect the inside line as they come onto the Cooper Straight. Oh, what a move. Now, this is going to get incredibly down. Look how close Pip is getting on the back of Stuart Place as they come onto the Cooper Straight.
Can Pip Hammond do this? He was 3rd at the start of the lap. He's got past Finn Groom, but Finn Groom wants to try and get back ahead of him. But there's only a matter of about 4 feet between these two cars now. Pip Hammond right into the back very nearly of Stuart Place. He's trying to go around the outside. He used this line.
Finn's going to get on the inside.
Finn's
Look at
getting
Pip.
on the inside.
Oh!
Hammond so out of shape. And
So out of shape.
into this as well. I think that might just about have done it for as far as Pip
Yes, we've
Hammond
got
is
Andy
concerned.
Anderson trying to get 3rd.
He is. It's going to be Stuart Place then leading on the way up to the line. It's going to be Pip Hammond 2nd, and it's going to be Finn Groom 3rd and Andy Anderson 4th. The 4 of them covered by less than 9/10 of a second. A great fight in those last 2 laps. And Anderson did another new fastest lap of the race on the last lap of 109.524. So we only had 2 laps of racing after the safety car there, but it was tense. It was exciting, Paul.
Oh, it was exciting, and hats off there to Ryan Clark. He's had a nightmare season with car issues. He's had no luck at all. Finds himself finishing in 6th place. What a great result, getting the better of Chris Deere on that last lap.
And as you say, Mallory Park, it's really set up nicely now for an excellent finale.
It's going to be incredibly exciting, and this is where the calculators come out. But it's going to be incredibly tense for our last meeting.
It certainly is. Thank you very much, Paul Thorpe. Let's have a look at the results of that race. Then number 87, Stuart Place, it was that clung on to the win by 0.359 seconds from number 71, Pip Hammond in 2nd place. 3rd place went the way of number 91, Finn Groom. 4th to number 86, Andrew Anderson. 5th to number 48, Neil Dudman. As Paul said, Ryan Clark, great result for him. He got 6th on the last lap away from Chris Deere. So 33, Ryan Clark in 6th. 46, Chris Deere in 7th. Then 8th was number 6, Andy Philpotts. 9th, number 12, James Hazelhurst. And 10th was number 74, Lucas Dryden. Ahead of Rick Groom, Jason Wood, Darren Bassingthwaite and Alan Dealey, who was the last of the finishers, with Lee Scott ending his race in the gravel trap. Well, that brings to an end the Finishline UK Classic Stock Hatch Championship racing for this weekend. As we've been saying, that will conclude at Mallory Park in early October. Stuart Place it will be, going into that final round with just a little bit of an advantage of about 9 points, I think it will be, after drop scores have been taken into account going into that final meeting. So very much the championship up for grabs there between Pip Hammond and Stuart Place in Leicestershire. There are still 3 races to come this afternoon here at Brands Hatch. Coming up next, we've got the Aim Shop Mazda 7s, we've got the Zamp Helmets Formula V Championship and the Radical Bike Sports Championship to round out the day's racing here at Brands Hatch. I'm reminded that the next 750 Motor Club event is not for a few weeks after this, but there's 2 events in the same weekend. There's one at an MSV track up at Alton Park, which is also penned in to be live streamed, and the same weekend, this is on the 21st and 22nd of September, there's also an event at Croft Circuit as well, a 2-day meeting there as well. So the majority of the 750 Motor Club Championships in action over the course of those 2 northern venues in September. Very shortly we'll be heading down to the pit lane. Josh Barrett is there. He is sort of shepherding the drivers into position, no doubt, ready to have a chat with them at the end of that Finishline UK Classic Stock Hatch Championship race, and before we get going with our next race, which is going to be the Aim Shop Mazda 7s, which will be coming up in just a few moments. It will have to be some quite short, sharp interviews though, Josh, because we've got the Mazdas already on the grid. Down to Josh.
Yeah, we're down here. A quick word, Stuart, because the next race is about to start. Well done, a difficult race.
Yeah, I had no grip on that corner up there. I don't know the name of it. I'm not that good. Thank you. But no, it was. I knew Pip was coming. I knew I had to get off a line. Managed to get a break, then the safety car, and I was actually quite pleased because it was a lot worse than the last race.
Yeah.
I wish it had rained a bit more, but we hung on.
Well done. The next race is about to start. So the Aim Shop Mazda 7 Championship coming up next.